All right, so Minister Sport Zizi Kodwa has urged Banyana Banyana to focus on the job at hand with less than 3 weeks before the start of the FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Banyana Banyana players have raised serious concerns ahead of the World Cup. This led to the squad boycotting their official send-off match against Botswana yesterday afternoon. Kodwa will be meeting with the SA Football Players Union tomorrow. He stated that he has been in contact with the president of SAFA, Daniel Dunn, and has received written communication from the SA Football Players Union about Banyana Banyana's concerns. Banyana Banyana players want a written agreement on the monies that they will receive for participating in the FIFA World Cup. They were also not happy with Botswana as their opponent in their official send-off match. All right, so for more on this, we're joined via Zoom by Nondumiso Mkhize. She's a sports presenter and analyst. A very good afternoon to you, Nondumiso. Thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Very good afternoon. I'm so pleased to be here tonight.
What do you make of this impasse between the team and SAFA at this point? What dynamics are really being reflected here?
This is just one of the most difficult times for our football as a nation, because we were celebrating the movement. We were celebrating having our women winning prestigious competition, now qualifying for a World Cup, which is like a global showpiece event, and that one would always want to participate in. So having such saga just before they embark on this journey is really not a tasteful thing to happen. But nonetheless, we are not to dwell on the negative things, but we are to move forward and look at the positive side. Another thing that is very, very important for one to be asking themselves before we even engage in such is that how is this going to benefit the collective? We really want to see sports growing in our communities. We really want to see sports growing in our country. And with that being said, we also are in a rightful space to be questioning our administration to say they need to be of the decisive leadership. They need to provide a suitable platform for these players. Just so before they leave and go and perform at a global stage, they need to leave at a good space.
Well, equity, equality, inclusivity are definitely aspects and that we need to look at perhaps in the sport fraternity at large. Before we get to that, perhaps you could speak to some of the main issues raised by the players. Perhaps also talk to us what your thoughts are on what transpired as well.
Like any other employee, if you are to serve, whether you are serving your nation, being a sports person, a sport lady or a sportsman, you are obviously expecting a compensation for your services in return. And therefore, an agreement must be met. Everything must be clear. The association must lay out everything. And you also have your demands, and everything must be met before the agreement must be met before we even start to play, before they even start to embark on the journey. Everything must be sorted, because at the end of the day, we are saying we are caring for them, and this is their career. Maybe the question that we need to ask ourselves is, what does qualify one to be a professional? If in whatever stages that qualifies one to be a professional, there's a compensation or remuneration that is involved. Therefore, all of that need to be discussed, and it needs to be very clear as to how much are you getting and for what kind of services are you going to get that amount. And that needs to be clear. It doesn't have to be in a blurry state whereby people or players are questioning all of that. So I think that's one of the major issues whereby we're getting sort of reports in all kinds of platforms. People are saying so many things, and yet if there's no clarity, and like any other person, if you are to deliver the services or if you are to work, you need to know what you're getting into.
No, absolutely. You raised some pertinent points there, because when we have to look at gender equality, perhaps issues of gender pay gaps that still perpetuate, many tiers of society, many sectors as well. One is to question whether we're rearranging the chairs on the decks of the Titanic, or there's actually will to implement and correct this. The issue of about alleged salary proposals at this stage has also come to the fore again, and we're wondering whether it's fair to put their demands under such scrutiny at this point. Do you think those unfair dynamics are also persisting? How would you weigh in on the different treatments between Bafana Bafana and Banyana Banyana?
First and foremost, we need to be very realistic about the status of women football in our country, and where they stand at the moment. Obviously, this is not a matter whereby we can just fast track and say we are already equally, because even globally, women in sports, they are just, emerging, they are getting there and all of that. Nonetheless, we're not saying, or that is not to say that one should not be able to speak about their own rights and so forth. But there's also one thing that we really need to be careful of. We've got rights, we've got access to certain rights, and for every right or every area of rights, there's also a responsibility. So that's why I spoke about a clear agreement on terms, just so you know what you are responsible for and what you will be compensated on that responsibility upon delivery. So that's why it has to be clear. This is for me, it is very, very uncomfortable to be at a space right now where we are already discussing the matter of gender, because we shouldn't be here by now. We shouldn't be here. We should be at a space whereby we are just sports, or women in sports, and that's that. Because we as women, when I say we, I put myself, because I'm also a woman, have been previously marginalized when it comes to so many things, including sports. And we have celebrated this one a long time ago to say now we finally in this, and to have this kind of discussion at this time and at this level, when our ladies are about to embark on this journey, is really, really a very uncomfortable space to be in. But nonetheless, we really need to confront everything that come across. So we really have to tackle this one and make sure that it is said that, like any other employer, like I say, or employee, they have the right to demand certain things, and such must be met. And also the administration must provide a decisive leadership, making sure that the platform and the tone is set correctly, because football is not just about them performing, but it's also a sport that demands your emotional space.
Absolutely, and want us to wonder how this is going to impact their performance ahead of the World Cup as we edge closer. Nondumiso, thank you for your time with us and for weighing in. Nondumiso Mkhize, a sports presenter and analyst, weighing in on what transpired between Banyana Banyana, perhaps, and SAFA, having their concerns ahead of the World Cup. We'll have to monitor developments and see really what unfolds there. Again, thank you to Nondumiso for weighing in there.